Joel Rubin. He served as Deputy Assistant Secretary of State during the Obama administration. Joel, thanks for being with us.
It's great to be with you, Marky.
So, as you know, this deal has garnered fierce blowback from Republicans who say that the U.S. is paying Iran to bring these Americans home. But the White House is saying that this isn't a ransom payment. I guess my question to you, even though this is Iranian money being held in a South Korean bank, isn't the U.S. allowing the funds to go into Tehran's coffers effectively a payoff?
Well, Marky, first and foremost, it's a great day when Americans are taken out of dire circumstances and imprisoned in a country like Iran. 5 Americans coming home is a win for the United States. And these funds, they're not going to Iran. They're going to an American ally, Qatar, to be held by Qatar, and they will be dispersed by Qatar for humanitarian goods only. That's the deal. The funds can't be provided for anything but humanitarian goods. So the Iranian people are actually going to benefit from this. And I think for the critics from President Trump's administration, Republicans on the Hill, they're really kind of misinforming the American people about this. You know, President Trump, when he was president, released more than $80 billion in sanctions relief to Iran straight into their coffers. And these Americans were detained, and they were continuing to be detained on his watch when he left office. So it's really unfair to make that critique. These Americans coming home, that's good.
But even some Democrats are skeptical. And yes, agree with you. The Americans coming home, I can't imagine what that feels like for their families. But I will add, even some Democrats are skeptical about the decision to unfreeze that money. Senate Foreign Relations Committee Chair, New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez, recently echoed Republican concerns, including the $6 billion in the deal would encourage more hostage taking in the future. Financial incentives really do these kinds of incentives increase the likelihood of Americans being detained by hostile states?
Well, the senator might be communicating concerns, but he didn't block this when he had the chance to. So he clearly is on board. He's right, without a doubt. There are deep concerns always about Iran taking hostages. There are Americans being held hostage in multiple countries around the world. I'm glad that you highlighted Evan Gershkovich, too, in Russia. And this is a dire problem. It's a global problem, and it needs to be addressed. But again, these Americans, getting them out, that was the key. There's leverage. That's why Americans, and big picture here, that's why we have sanctions on Iran for leverage to extract concessions from Iran. This is Iranian money again. And why? Because it was Iranian money that they earned through sales of oil that was then frozen in South Korean banks. So our sanctions froze that money. We're now unfreezing it, and that is a penalty that we are willing to trade for American lives, and I think that's the proper use of sanctions relief.
So we unfreeze the money, we give them $6 billion and 5 of their own guys back. We got 5 Americans. Yeah. It does seem off balance, no? Did that move make our country safer?
Well, there's a great line that a friend of mine has said in public, I believe this, Aaron David Miller. There's never a good deal with Iran. So I'm not coming here to say, oh, this is great, we win. I'm coming here to say this is a crucial and a very important thing that has to be done. Diplomacy is the only way to deal with a country like Iran. There is no military component to our relationship where we're going to, for example, stop their nuclear program. We saw the diplomatic deal that President Obama negotiated that stopped that program. We saw that when President Trump ended it, the program has restarted vigorously. So we need to stay on the diplomatic track. And that means painful compromises, hard deals. But this is part of that. And this is where we get concessions. It makes the lives of these Americans much safer, that's for sure.
Yeah. Okay, it's one we're going to stay on top of. Joel Rubin, we appreciate your perspective and insights this morning. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Marky.
Painful compromise and a hard deal definitely falls in that category. I want